Okay, you may need to turn up the audio. I'm trying to finish the rest of these videos on the smartboard, and hopefully we can get them done and upload it. So you will have some problems asking you to determine if the triangles are congruent. There are 5 ways to prove triangles are congruent. I've highlighted those 5 ways. I also want to go over the ways, what things you might need to do and see in order to use those 5 ways. So if I'm dealing with side angle side, um, the way to help me see that relationship is tick mark is representing a side. I have one tick mark, so that's both an S. An arc here that represents the angle, that's an A. This problem is missing that arc, so we need to put the A there. And then 2 tick marks, that's another side. And then I look for this pattern that is side SAS, or side angle side. So I see that this pattern is holds in both triangles. So we got a side angle side. So this would be side angle side. And then the order of the letters does matter. So if I go from H to I to G, that means H through the 2 tick marks to no tick marks to 1 tick mark. I have to do that same pattern. So that means I would need to start with K, go to 2 tick marks, that's J, L. Okay, so side angle side is the following. The most easiest one is side, side, side. If I have 3 sides, 3 variations of tick marks corresponding to 3 other tick marks, then I know that the 2 triangles are congruent by side, side, side. Unfortunately, this is not the one that's going to probably be tested because that's so easy. But the order still does matter. So if I'm going to A, B, C, because I'm going through 3 tick marks to 1, to follow that same order, so that would be triangle F, E, D. Okay. All right, angle side angle, that's a very common one. Make sure you recognize that. Now you can't just add tick marks or angles. They have to already be given to you either in words or on the marking on the figure. So this is an arc, that's A. That's the same A over there, same arc. Tick mark represents a side, that's an S. That's an S, double arc, that's another angle, another angle. So I can see it follows the pattern angle side angle. So now we're just going to complete the congruency statement. Let's name the triangle. I'm going to start with M. So let's say if I say triangle M and O, I need to start with the same angle M that it corresponds with, that is congruent, which is P. And so if I go M and O, I need to follow that pattern. That would be P, R, Q. So this, they will be checking to make sure that you can put it in the correct order. Now, angle, angle, side. Order, basically, if it's the A, angle, angle, side, I have to start with the A. But let's just get the markings first, so you can see, because it can vary depending on the orientation of the triangles. So one arc, that's an angle, one arc, angle. 2 arcs, that's an angle, 2 arcs, angle. Tick mark, that's a side, tick mark, that's a side. Now, to have angle, angle, side, these need to follow that pattern for this postulate consecutively. I go from an angle to that side over there. Notice the tick mark is not between. It cannot be in between the A's. So angle, angle, side. So this one is going clockwise over here. This was clockwise. This was counterclockwise, but it still follows the postulate of angle, angle, side. Now I'm just going to complete my congruency statement. If I say triangle U, and I believe that's an S and a T, um, then it has to be congruent with the same corresponding part, same marking. So U goes with V, then X, W. Now this can vary, but the order does matter. And HL, need to know, memorize that you can only use HL with right triangles. Only use with right triangles. So H represents the hypotenuse. That's the side opposite the right angle. You need to have a tick mark there to do HL. I need a tick mark on the hypotenuse. I need to have the same tick mark, which I do. L represents the legs. The legs are the parts, the sides that make the right angle. There needs to be a tick mark. There's one, there's one. So now we can say these triangles are congruent by HL. And I can say triangle ZYA is congruent to, if I start with Z and go to YA, that would be DCB by HL. Now, things that are false, okay? You cannot use angle, angle, angle. That's not acceptable. And no donkey. If you see any of these as an answer choice, automatically we need to eliminate them because we can't use them to prove. All right, so those are the 5 ways. Let's get into some practice problems. 24 through 27 are the tests like that I want to make sure you can do. So things you need to remember is always first mark given information, which on this problem right here, it's already given to you. They already marked it for you, okay? Second, which is very important, I'm gonna put that in a different color. Second, you need to mark known facts. Things that we consider known facts, things that you are not going to be marked for you would be the first most common one is vertical angles. And I might be running out of room. Next most common is a shared side or angle. And I'll show you an example of each of those. Side or angle. Next, third most common is alternate interior angles. This is with parallel lines, when you have parallel lines. Okay, so with this problem, we have vertical angles, so we would need to mark those. There's no shared side or angle, but we do have these arrows right here, and I'll put that in a different color. These arrows tell me we have parallel lines. So if you need to, you can extend the lines. No, I ran out of room here. We need to find a transversal to do alternate interior angles. Well, if I use this line right here, this is my transversal. So like if I wanted to extend these parallel lines, we would see that the alternate interior angle right here and right here exists. Now remember the ones that told you cannot use? No donkey, right there, there's donkey. Cross it out. No I, no three A's. So now I'm just down to, do I have three tick marks? Because this would be side, side, side. I only have two tick marks. So this is really, I got a side, side, I got an angle, vertical angle, and also an interior angle. And hopefully we see that the correct answer was A. Okay. All right, now, this is where you have to mark the given. So you have to mark A is the midpoint of DP. Okay. So here's your A, the midpoint of DP. That means you put the tick marks. We're going to mark BD is perpendicular. That symbol means perpendicular to DP. That means we have to add the box. So box at oh sorry, well it's on both. Box at P and D because there's two perpendicular statements. We mark the given. What known facts can be marked? Hopefully we see correcto mundo. We have vertical angles, okay? We have vertical angles. Now, yes, we have right angles, and opposite is the hypotenuse, but that does not have a tick mark, so I cannot use HL. So I'm just going to go back to what I know. I have an angle, a right angle, still an angle, a side, angle. Let's see if I got it over here. Yes, angle, side, angle. So this is by ASA, and then we're going to follow the order. Order matters. If I go triangle bad, BAD, then that would have to be gap, GAP. Okay. So the type of known facts that you're going to be responsible for will be vertical angles and the shear side and alternate interior angles. So on this one, it's marked for us. That would be our given angle, given information. Then I'm marking this. BD is a shared side in both triangles. Okay, so I have a right triangle as such. Okay, that is my right triangle. And then I have this right triangle here as such. That's my right triangle. I could separate, oops, sorry. I could separate these two triangles so that we could see that they share the middle part. Okay, they're two separate triangles. But with those two separate triangles, we have a leg marked and their shared side. So we have that shared side as the hypotenuse. So this is my hypotenuse leg. And I'm going to just follow the order. If I say ABD, starting with the right angle, then I start with the right angle for the congruent triangle. So that would be C, and it went from the tick mark. So CDB, hypotenuse leg. Okay. Can you prove using angle side, angle postulate, angle side postulate? Well, one thing I can add on here are the vertical. So this is a side, this is an angle, this is an angle. This is an angle, that's an angle, that's the side. There is no parallel lines, so we have no alternate ends here. We can't add tick marks. The answer is B here. The answer is B. Now, on 28 and 29, this is just some more practice to help you mark the known facts, the given information, and also identify share site. So KS is congruent to MR, that's a tick mark. Angle KSR, that's this angle right here, is congruent to MRS, that's that angle here. And then the one thing, if I'm talking about, they want me to compare it to angle or triangle, excuse me, and I'll just go ahead and highlight this one. This triangle is from K to R to S. So I'm looking at that. Kind of looks like a right triangle, but it's not because we don't know it's perpendicular. But we're looking at that triangle. And that would have to be compared to MRS. Okay? I don't know if it's in that order, but I need to at least see that these two triangles have SR in common. They're sharing that side. So I have a side, I have an angle, I have a side. This is going to be side, angle, side. And if I say KRS, then yeah, it is end up going to be MRS. On 29, we're going to determine if the triangles are congruent. We're going to write the congruency statement if they are and justify the answer if they are not. So this was like a little typo. That should just be BA, that side BA congruent to ED. Then we have side CA, 2 tick marks, CD, 2 tick marks. Known fact, first most common known fact, vertical angles. To mark them. Now I check. What do I have marked? I have an angle. I have a side. I have a side. Oh, don't we do that? No, that's donkey. No donkey. So they're not congruent. Okay, we don't use donkey theorems in here. They're not congruent. Alright, so that will take care of, because the other part, oh yeah, sorry, one more, we got one other one. Now we're just determining the additional information. You're not really going to have this on the test, but you are going to have to at least make sure you can problem solve using the postulate. So it's given that N is congruent to Y, and NO is congruent to YZ. We're what angle, side, angle. So right now I have an angle, I have a side, angle, side. For me to have ASA, angle, side, angle, I need another angle. So hopefully we saw we need angle Z to be congruent. Angle O. Okay, this is what you would have to get. And then 31, we're trying to use side, angle, side. We have the right angles, which were given right here. And we have 60 degrees, I believe. Is that right? Let me look. They're both perpendicular. Oh, we need the additional information. And then they have this share side. So they have a side, we have this angle. We need another side. So that would mean that we need BA to be congruent to DE. Alright, so that takes care of the congruent triangles. The next video is going to talk about what you need to know for constructing parallel and perpendicular lines. So just fast forward and just watch the animation. This is something we saw in class. Or go on to the next set. Thanks for doing this.